Hi, people.
Are you lying? Okay, nice. All right, let's get it. Welcome to the 100% Crit Podcast, everybody. This is me, Quan. We got the British Cynic and Mr. D. What's good?
Good. Oh, I was on a postcard, please.
Hey, let's get it. Let's get it. Bro, I don't know if you guys are watching the. Can I stream to you guys my screen while I'm recording it? That would be lit. Go live. I wonder if it works. I think it does.
I can
Okay,
see you. Yeah,
you can see it my screen there.
yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. So we can go through it together. All right, RuneScape is celebrating 20 years. That's crazy. You know why I wanted to go over this? Because I learned how to speak English on RuneScape. So an immigrant to the United States, when I first came to the US, I discovered RuneScape on Miniclip. It was like this little website you could go to where you could play a little arcade games, right? And there was these games called like On the Run and this and that, right? Probably little famous games. And on there, if you went to the multiplayer section, you would find all these little multiplayer games. And then I found RuneScape in there. Clicked on it, boom, and then that's how it started. And then it was history from there. Uh, Cynic, you said you tried RuneScape, right?
Back when yeah, so this is the last year of my secondary school because it was 2002.
You
And
said
I remember being
2002.
all, yeah, so I remember it being all the rage up until I left in the middle of that year. And the best thing is it consisted almost entirely of year nines and up, pretty much finding ways to play this game despite IT manager doing everything possible to lock down the school network at the time. It really was a masterclass in how you don't try and annoy a student body base.
I see. Yep, yep. And funny, I said I learned English speaking RuneScape. It's because all the imagine like you don't know how to speak a language, right? And you have an MMO. The MMO is in another language that you're trying to learn. And let's say you see a pickaxe, right? You see a pickaxe, you mine with it. So, and it's now ingrained in your head that okay, pickaxe means this little thing. You see an image of a pickaxe, and then you mine with it, right? You can see how, and then connecting all these things together, I basically learned a lot of my English just from playing RuneScape. You had the wood cutting, you had an axe, the sword, the shield, all the different professions and stuff like that. Um, yeah, that's crazy. And oh, and that and chatting with people, right? Typing in the chat, talking to people. I don't even know what I was saying. Probably the until one day I did, and we just had regular conversations with people. It's interesting. Yeah, man. So I just wanted to highlight that, man. Shout out to RuneScape and those guys at Jagex. Shout out to them, man. Uh, shit, they gave me a lot of fun times, and it
When
was
I was,
Go ahead.
I was about to say, when I was at my last banking job, I actually had a woman who came on the phone to me and said that JGX was stealing money illegally from her debit card. And basically, what happened was is that she was fully aware that her son used to play RuneScape, but her son had given her an absolute assurance that he wasn't using her card to play RuneScape. And I said to her, look, given how litigious companies are with keeping transactions safe and secure,
Right.
this would only ever have gone through if somebody had requested a payment taken from that card
Yeah.
and had to break it down to her that your son is unfortunately lying to you and you should probably go talk to him about it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know a lot of people that did that. Not just Pete kids still do that now with Fortnite and other little stuff you can buy. Like a lot of kids are like just using their mom's card and hiding it, thinking that she's not gonna find out. You know.
Absolutely. But then again, this is all based on trust. We've had people who have come forward and said, my son spent £20,000 on FIFA Ultimate
Yeah.
Pack cards.
Yeah.
Like, I can totally understand
It's
someone
rough.
doing that, but at the end of the day, that's your fault for leaving your system unlocked. 'Cause you can actually lock out that functionality on the console.
Oh, you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you
you
have to
can,
think about it this way: the parents are older; they don't know anything about these consoles. You know?
which is incredible because these were the people that came out when consoles started coming out. Like my generation, the one that's popping kids out right now,
Yeah,
is
but
we grew
like
up.
they didn't have these kind of things back then. You know?
No, we had Mega Drives, we had Dreamcasts, we had Xboxes, or for the latest one,
Yeah,
Xboxes.
exactly,
We
exactly.
knew full well the capability of these consoles, but it's only those who are willfully ignorant that haven't realised that, as you've seen with Google Play and Apple's iPhone, with regards to how those take card payments, if you haven't seen those taking payments with your card and then thought the same happens with the console, that's just naivety on a scale that shouldn't be entertained.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of tricky, right? I think with every, if you're living in 2022, every electronic equipment you have, you should probably, or you give to your kids, you should probably check if there's some parental controls in there, or if there's some things in there that you wouldn't want either your kids to have
Yeah,
access
that,
to or stuff like that. I
that,
think,
that goes for PCs and for phones, yeah, definitely.
yeah, that's for sure. Like if you have a computer now and you have kids and you don't have kids that use a computer, you don't have like a filter, like some kind of content filter or whatever on there, like you know, or some kind of firewall or whatever to stop things from, you know, I think you're not doing a good job as a parent to be honest with you.
If you don't keep on top of it as a parent and you let your kids find out how to use equipment that early in their lives, they will outsmart you.
Yes, yes, they will. I mean, shoot, when I started using computers, I took off from my parents. They barely knew what I was doing. They couldn't understand any of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mine could because I didn't know what a browser history was at that time. So after that rather uncomfortable conversation, my friend introduced me to one, which I then started using from then onwards. So it became a case of not doing this
What's
again,
up,
but
demonics?
not yeah. So rather than not getting caught doing it again, it was now not getting caught.
Yeah, not getting caught. Yeah. Bro, my parents barely used the computer, bro. It was basically my computer. Like when I was younger, they just put the computer in the house, and then it was basically mine. Like, yeah. And then that's when,
I
you
mean,
know,
my generation, we were the ones that were on. I would say we were at the forefront of peer-to-peer technology when it came out, like Azara and Morpheus, LimeWire. We were the ones tackling all of that when it came out.
let's see. All right, but all right, we could change topics. I just wanted to give a shout out to RuneScape because you know those guys, you know, did a lot. Even though like I don't like the new RuneScape that they have, like this, it's kind of crazy. I like the old RuneScape with the crazy PvP
What would you
and
change about it?
this new one.
Yep.
The graphics are okay, even though like I don't know if the graphics are okay. These graphics are more way like because RuneScape was like a dark and kind of gritty kind of game. Like to be honest with you, when you went to the wilderness, like it was dark, it was gritty. With these graphics, they kind of made the game a little lighter. Uh, um, they kind of made they made it for more appealing to kids, I would say. Where like the old RuneScape was like it was darker, it was grittier. Like you used to get killed and lose all your items, and it was a darker game. And I think I kind of enjoyed that about it. Now it's more like a lighter game. There's no PvP. The graphics are better, but it's more like uppity. You know what I'm saying? It's more like sunshines and roses, more than like the dark gritty game like it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yep.
I think they changed the mood of it in the PvP. I think, which is good for a new audience, but it just not, you know, for a guy that was raised on the gritty, you know, grittiness. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that about it. But yeah, man. Um,
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Let's get it. We got Planetside. I don't know if you guys want to talk about Planetside.
Not me.
No, I never played it. I heard reviews from people who liked it, but I never got around to playing the actual.
Bro, Planetside is one of the most underrated games. But yeah, one of the most underrated games right now, to be honest. And they just released a new expedition that put underwater content in the game, and you can use stuff to hover over the water, or you can use different crafts to dive into the water and basically have fights under the sea and stuff. Like,
So, what, 10 years after every MMO has really gone and done that, Planescape finally joins the 21st century.
no, I'm saying it's Planetside is like a war game. Like there's tanks and you have different factions and you're all fighting for territory and stuff like that. And whoever has the most territory at the end of the timer for the continent before the continent resets, you get money for that, right? Or resources and stuff. Um,
Firstly, is that tank silencers are bigger than the actual tanks, and secondly, there are tank silencers.
Yo, look, what was I gonna say? No, the underwater combat is actually a huge deal. Like to make that happen, that's a huge deal, and to make it so that the aircraft can dive into the water and stuff like that is crazy. I'll say again.
Please tell me they have submarine warfare.
I mean, I guess the aircraft turn into submarines. I guess since you get the so you can dogfight with aircraft in the air, right? But I guess now you just dive under the sea with them. I don't think there's like specialized submarines, or maybe they'll add that in the future. But I don't think there's any of that with this new update. Mm-mm-mm. But shout out to them, man. Shout out to Planetside, man.
They actually launch in January.
I mean, it is January. It released. This is just an old article since December. But all right, we could talk about Final Fantasy, Mister Final Fantasy. I never played the Final Fantasy 14, so take it. So,
Yeah, that's quick. So now they're taking the game off panic mode, so you can now buy the game again. And for those living in the Oceania regions, they have a data center. So those in Australia don't actually have a reason to go to bed each day and play the game. And they've also announced, they did this last month, they announced that they intend to upgrade both the Japanese and European data centers to be on par with the North American one. So there'll be work conducted this year and next year to, I think, add at least one extra cluster of servers per region.
can you say that again? Just a little louder.
Yeah.
I don't think you're kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, so they plan to add to both Japan and to Europe, I think, at least one more cluster of data centers, and then just give them the same sort of spread they've already given the North American service.
Okay, so less latency for those guys.
Yeah, less latency and more players per cluster, effectively.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Is that it for FF news?
I mean, without giving away so many spoilers, yes. If you haven't played it, go ahead and play it. It'll blow your mind.
Really?
I mean, this is one of the few games that takes away very, very, very few content away from you when you go past the expansions. So most of what's in the game from all expansions is still there to be replayed.
Okay. See, you gotta understand. My thing is PvP. If I can kill other people, bro, I don't want to play. I need PvP. The only game that doesn't really have PvP, it does kind of a little bit, but not really. That I really played all the way through was like Path of Exile. I haven't played any of the new content they released, but in the beginning, yeah, I played quite a bit of. I got a high level in there.
I preferred 1.0 of Final Fantasy 14.
When it first came out, it was a really weird game when it came out. Like, of course, when you start the game now, you have to start as a an actual proper warrior class, so some kind of offensive class. When you started the game back at 1.0, you could start literally as a miner without doing anything else, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was more community based than the games are.
You said it was more community based. Is it not community based now?
You have to go through thousands of hours of stuff before you can team up with your friends. You know, it's kind of not really community based until the end. So end game at least.
So yeah, that's what happens when games have like get too many expansions, right? Like before you could like really get the community feel, like you really have to grind on your own a little bit. I feel like that with World of Warcraft sometimes. Yeah.
I feel like there are ways to circle back to get players, to encourage players to help new players, but people haven't really looked into that. I don't think yet.
Yeah, games got to do that, right? Like have some kind of reward system for helping newer players.
They do. It's called the mentor system, but that's mostly just bragging rights.
No, not like a mentor, but like let's say there's some kind of board that you just sign up for. Hey, help me with quest or whatever, and if you do them, like you get some kind of reward or something like that. I know people would probably abuse it, but I think incentives are cool.
Well, you have to use that. They've now actually outlawed players offering to boost. So if you want to boost, you have to create a page yourself and ask for help now. You can't just gather players and go into an instance yourself now and do it.
No, it wouldn't be a boost because for games you want to like what do you call it? Level matching whatever for the per region. What do you call it?
Oh yeah, level sync. So level sync
Yeah,
happens when you're
yeah,
playing any kind of dungeon. Yeah. So skills and your attributes all scale down to
yeah. Scale
depending
down.
on
Yeah,
your
exactly. So that way it would still be a little, it still be a little challenging. You know, you're
Yeah.
not taking away the challenge, and you can still help new players. You know what I'm saying?
But to be fair, we have that now. We have the scenario roulette, which they've made some changes to that. That's made some players unhappy. So for those of you that don't know, in Final Fantasy 14 there are two really long raid sections where you have to queue up and form a raid party. And these are two very important quests at the end of the year, like the 2.0, so the Realm Dawn quest line, which comes after 1.0. Now, originally there were still two raids, but the XP given for the raids it was basically scaled on how long the instance took, and one took way far less amount of time than the other. So the XP being given was comparable. So, and of course, people moan because if you're getting XP that's it's scaled down, you want the one that takes up the one that gets the most experience because you're there to do something. You want to might as well get the long one to get it all out of the way and get the boosted experience. But now they've actually made sure that the experience between both of them now is equivalent. So now they've said, right, why have I got to do now the longer one if doing the shorter one gets the same experience? So now you've got people instead of dropping the shorter one, people are now dropping the longer one because they don't want to have to do this to get the same experience now. But that's there for new players to be helped by the user base because it's there to make sure there will always be a queue for those important raids. But come on, Square, make it a bit fairer on players who are going through this. I can see why they're leaving because if you're giving out equal rewards for doing less work, then of course you can choose the path of least resistance.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I don't know, man. Yeah, but you know, there are ways to figure these things out, man.
On a private server I'm making, there's an item called some kind of trophy. Participation trophy, and it gives you extra XP, some HP, MP, just kind of random bonus stats for a couple hours if you use it. So it's kind of a little incentive to help out new players.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I forgot you were working on a private server. Shout out to you, bro. Doing big things.
Yeah, it's going along.
Y'all better add some arenas to the private server.
Oh, it's coming.
Then I'll play for sure. We could skip to Mortal Online. Mortal Online sells 110,000 copies. Hits number 4 on Steam. Has demand crushed the expectation. But bug fixes are coming as usual.
I'm saying now. I've seen how New World did. Getting anywhere close to top 5 on Steam means absolutely nothing if you can't keep the momentum going.
You say that again? Sorry.
So, after seeing what New World did, getting number 4 on Steam means absolutely nothing. It's keeping that position.
Well, I think selling 100K copies, 110K copies is a big deal. Especially it's a big deal for a hardcore MMO like that. Like,
yeah, but that's in the context of there not being any sort of MMOs to play really outside of Final Fantasy 14 right now, because nearly every other MMO is dog shit in its own special regard.
Oh no, so, but you have to understand the audience is way different, bro.
It is
the same audience that plays like Final Fantasy and all that. Like, this is Mortal is the hardcore MMO where like full loot PvP like crazy. Like,
I agree. Those people are much different people.
Yeah, this is not the same. So like it hitting these numbers, that's crazy. These are kind of numbers that you hit like back in like 2003 when these were the only games around. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, the kids don't play hardcore MMOs anymore. They're scared of them. So seeing it hit these kind of numbers, that's actually impressive, man. I think people were craving like a hardcore game. You know?
No, but the point still stands. Keeping that same player base playing is going to be a challenge.
Oh, of course. That's always the challenge. But I love this. I love it because now I see that there's a craving. There's a craving, for guys like me, wanting to play hardcore games. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't play Final Fantasy, bro. If I can't smack somebody, I don't want to play it. That's my policy. If I can't smack somebody, bro, no way I'm playing it.
Fair enough.
Let's get it. With bigger launch than number 4, bigger launch than anticipated. Thanking everyone for their support. Hey man, shout out to them, man. Hey, they executed and they pulled it off. But most I see it says but bug fixes are coming. I think that's normal though. Things like this are gonna happen when you go live. There's gonna be unexpected things. So shout out to that, man. Shout out to that. What else can we talk about?
I think Blizzard makes some changes to Season of Mastery, but no one gives a shit right now about Season of Mastery. Let's see what the servers are like right now.
Let's see. Embers Adrift is dropping his NDA March 1st. Is NDA? What does that even mean? Non-disclosure agreement?
Yeah, so what will happen is those who are developing the game or helping to develop the game right now, they will have an agreement whereby they're not allowed to go online and post details about the game until that expires. So,
okay, let's see.
So I've had the same thing. It's the same was true when New World was going to alpha. People were supposed to adhere to NDAs. Also, currently they didn't adhere to them anyway. But either way, it's supposed to prevent a studio from having what they're planning leaked, but it's got very little success, to be honest.
NDAs are funny things because it's not like.
Yeah.
And then, bro, NDAs are kind of funny little documents because if the person doesn't have any money, you're gonna sue them for what exactly? What are you gonna get out of it?
Sorry, property being interrupted. The American legal system will wring every cent it can out of you, regardless of where you are.
Man, if you're broke, man, nobody's looking to sue you in the U.S., bro. Trust me. There's nothing to gain. There's nothing to gain, bro. It's when you have a little bit of money, then there's something there, or you have a house, you have property that they could confiscate. Yeah, man. It's going into beta. ahead of its plan 22. One major way is pulling back the alpha. Okay. But man, I don't like signing NDAs, man. Hey, you tell me something, I'll be like, okay, I won't do it. I gotta sign NDAs, bro. I don't want it anymore. I don't know why. It just turns me off. I don't like NDAs.
I've done work in the States for companies that required NDAs, so they've been a fact of life for me.
I mean, if it's a job and you kind of have to do the job, yeah, I get it. But generally, bro, I've known people that tell me, hey, bro, I got a business idea. Oh, just sign this NDA, then I'll tell you. I'm like, bro, I don't even want to know anymore.
I can tell by the art direction of the photo of the thumbnail that it's gonna be the same rocks, trees, and mountains.
Oh, like horse and carriage MMOs. I coined that term.
People are so tired of that, but they don't seem to care.
Exactly, bro.
Oh, you dive from dysentery.
You know why I think Cyberpunk 27 was such a huge was so anticipated was that it was a breath of fresh air from all the other stuff.
All that, and it looks like a version of Deus Ex done correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Deus Ex basically demonstrated that the world is open to a cyberpunk dystopia in the future. But Deus Ex, the first one was great, but the reboots recently have sort of missed the mark a bit. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 was guilty of under delivering and under promising. And it also completely. It should have reset half the day to focus on what would have been their next gen. They should have completely ignored the PS4 and the Xbox One and purely focused on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and released this year rather than a year and a bit ago.
Yeah, and the game was unfinished. There was a lot of areas in the game where you're like, wait, was there something supposed to be here?
Yeah, you can actually see if you go into the desert, there's actually a whole complete section that's almost nothing, and it's almost like it was supposed to be populated, but they didn't get around to doing it in time. And they also removed the metro system as well.
Yeah, the metro. There's just yeah, man. I want to see a Cyberpunk 2077 MMO, bro, or like an MMO built on that art style. It's like, oh man, bro, that'll be the day I break the bank, bro. I'll fund that fucking Kickstarter. I'll be an
I hope
idiot.
they're listening.
Huh?
I hope they're listening.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. Imagine it being a more sci-fi, more up-to-date version of Anarchy Online, basically.
Yes.
Yep.
But I think one thing Cyberpunk 27 did brilliantly is they mixed in hip hop culture with like punk rock culture with the futuristic. It's like, bro, it was the art style, the theme of the game was so nice, you know. Like I know that this was so innovative about it. No one ever did that before. No one ever mixed hip hop culture, punk culture, and the tech cyberpunk type shit together, and just made it was cool, man. The gameplay, maybe you could say is but like no one could take away from like the art and what they put into it,
Now, it's the Halo phenomenon, is that when you play the game is passable. It's not too bad, but when you start getting into the systems underneath it, you start realizing that other games have done all those different sections better.
Yeah.
Like the police chase system, good example. Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row, I think are the two only really big series of games that have properly nailed the police pursuit system. I mean, there is one in Watch Dogs, but I don't really give that time of day, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in Cyberpunk, it was only promised that you would get a proper police chase system, and it just simply isn't there.
Yeah. I think they try to reinvent the wheel on a lot of stuff. And I don't mind reinventing the wheel if you're trying to be innovative, but at least like give yourself time to execute on it, and don't release the game when it's not it's not ready.
The game doesn't keep track of who you've killed. Like I actually killed a guy inside this sort of club. Like I killed him with my hand blades I got, and
Right.
I then see him later on in a different cutscene because the game didn't seem to understand that I killed him and I just referred to him all the facts.
Oh man, yeah.
Like, it's not like, I killed you, I saw you bleed out and I looted your corpse. You are dead, you should not be in front of me.
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh, but hopefully it set the benchmark for something great in the future.
Well, the patch coming out, which apparently is going to be fairly soon. There's been some data mines being done on the PlayStation Store, and they've revealed there's apparently patch 1.5 coming very soon. So we'll see what that carries out. So you never know; it might make the game actually more enjoyable. But watch this space.
Part of me, even though they have the updates, I don't want to play through it again for some reason. I just like just roaming around, like just getting into cars, driving around, walking around, looking at the different art and stuff like that. I don't want to actually replay the story again.
It's, unless you want, I mean, I'd be fair. I could probably go through and do one of the other two backstories, to be honest, to give it like a fresh injection. But eventually, I'll get to the point where I see what's happening. I've been here before. I'll get to the stage eventually.
Yeah, and I've read what people said. They said the other backstories they don't really give you much except for like a few more chat, options.
Oh, and of course, the best thing I think about this game is somebody went into the game code and went and did some research on proper penis dangle physics.
Jesus.
And I am not, honestly, it's one of the best parts of the character creation screen. Honestly, the guy in charge of that, honestly, props to you, and hope you're getting a decent pay rise after doing that.
Hey, shout out to him, man.
Definitely a shout out to him. But yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes me play the game at this point would be re-rolling my character because I picked a male and no one told me that you can't romance one of the two women you meet up with in the game. So I think, right, okay, I want to get it on with Judy. I'm gonna have to re-roll as a woman. So.
Oh yeah. Your stuff got Pan Am.
I mean, obviously Pan Am's not too bad, but hey, Judy is bae.
This guy's funny. Yeah, I think she's the better one out of the two, to be honest. What else we got to talk about, or should we wrap it up because there's not much news? A new studio focused on collective growth garden is now working on further. Man. Inert. Ashes of Creation. Nope.
Yeah, the import Bungie. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh, by the way, it's Chinese New Year, right? Year of the Tiger.
Yeah.
Shout out. What is there? You guys know if there's any meaning behind the Year of the Tiger thing?
I don't care about it.
No idea.
Hey, whatever.
I see astrology as being the same way as the Myers-Briggs systems.
World of Warcraft is adding cross-faction instances, bringing alliance and horde together.
Yeah, because basically stuff that no one thinks was broken in the first place.
I could stand behind this a little bit, to be honest with you. I don't like that they're taking away like the rivalry, because the rivalry like is a real thing on servers, like because and when you reach like the higher levels of PvP like experience and you do it all the time, you get to know all the PvPers, the real deal PvPers on your server, and they know you, and it gets to be like a real competition, just knowing those guys and fighting against them or whatever. But
that's what I meant. Rather than focusing on making a proper game that's actually appealing, they're going back and changing things that nobody thought were broken.
Well, one issue that there is with Battlegrounds. Oh, this is cross-faction instances. My dumbass thought it was cross-faction Battlegrounds.
No, this is Dungeons and Raids, which is curious because there are some Dungeons and Raids which have completely different interactions based on which faction. Because there are some like old Lich King instances which you get either Jaina or Sylvanas accompanied depending on your Horde or Alliance, And likewise, there actually got different, I think, raids for Battle for Azeroth with how your team progressed through it.
All right. Uh, I mean, cross faction is. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. If it's on the PvE server, whatever. If PvP servers, no way.
No, so this is. I think it's because don't forget, there's no thing now. PvP and PvE servers.
They removed all that.
No, they removed that several expansions ago. There's no longer a difference.
Bro, I haven't played that such a long time.
Exactly. If you want to join PvP, you have to tick a PvP box within your user interface saying you're open to it. You have to physically opt in to World PvP.
Jesus Christ. Do you get extra experience?
Yes, actually, you do get rewards extra for doing that. So the game does reward you for putting yourself at risk. Yes.
All right, shout out to that. Man, how far is this game for? Yeah, I think once you're a game, like they say, die a hero, see yourself, live long enough to see yourself, whatever, become defend, whatever that quote is. I think that's what's World of Warcraft is now. It's just like eventually you get watered down so much, kind of like what happened to RuneScape. Eventually the game waters down so much where you're like now there's cross faction instances and stuff, you know. I think that's the natural evolution of things, of life. Because you see it so many times. Like, can't stay true.
I mean, it's not a terrible idea. I'm not opposed to it. It's not. It's in the wider context. I'd rather see the game being fixed first and it being made compelling to play again, not just having a band-aid being applied to it.
You know what I used to enjoy? You know what I used to enjoy?
Naked mud bath. I'll take a naked mud baths.
I still enjoy that. No, I used to enjoy walking outside of ICC, Ice Crown Citadel, right? At the entrance and just murdering people that are trying to go in or out. It's just being an absolute fucking.
Yeah, see, some would call you a hero and some would call you a raging cunt. And which actually you were doing with.
Yo, I used to be on a rogue, full PvP.
Yeah, that's genius.
And just it was sometimes we get in a group and it just murder people coming in and out. It used to be.
They did kind of solve that by you can actually fly into you can actually now fly inside and just about land in the portal if you time it right. So that's kind of
back in those days you couldn't fly through the tunnel. So you had to unmount to walk through it, and bro, you would just get slaughtered. And bro, these guys would bring in like a guild of about 100 people to come kill us. Yeah, we used to have to fight a whole raid, bro. Oh man, but it was funny. And sometimes we would wait for like the majority of the raid to go in, and then just murder the stragglers, the stragglers, bro. This stuff used to be funny, man. Shout out to World of Warcraft, man. Shout out to what it used to be. I don't know what it is now. Only British knows because I don't play that shit.
It's lost its soul, I think.
Yes. I would say after Mists of Pandaria, it was probably over. I think.
I mean, let's some sow the seeds of it. That's an interesting question. Would it have been any worse if Blizzard didn't touch the overworlds? Because that's what a lot of the contention was about. They did give us flying, and frankly, I think Azerothian flying, frankly, is one of the best things they could have ever introduced, just because that makes it so much more convenient to travel the world. But if they hadn't
really?
Yeah, really. I like the flying in Azeroth. I think that was crucial, and I'm still pissed off that the TBC areas in Azeroth don't still have flying because it really should do by now.
Bro, I would love the flying if I could attack people in the air. At least do one skill. If I can hit one skill and while I'm flying, like one attack skill, and dismount people in the air, I think I would appreciate the flying.
You say that in Cataclysm, they actually had a series of quests entirely revolving around using a flying mount to joust with.
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, can you
there were
imagine
methods.
being in a...
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying, imagine playing a warp-up version of Quidditch where you're playing in a griffin that's armed with a spear. Your job is to seriously screw with the other players, and then somebody's running around chasing a giant bullcock.
Yeah. Bro, I don't mind. I don't mind any of that. And I played a lot of Cataclysm, and there are methods that you could use to dismount people. Like you could like fly all the way on top of them, dismount real quick, hit a skill, and somehow get them out of the air. Like, I think there are different classes that could do it, but not every class could pull it off. Yeah, there are things like that. But besides that, nah, if you were flying, you were pretty much untouchable. I didn't like that. Unless you flew too low and somebody shot you out the sky.
In Crusade right now, even when you're either playing in, I think Stormbreaker Classic as well as the normal servers, is the three in Hellfire, in Hellfire Peninsula, you've got those three PvP targets. Is that it still counts if you're on a flying mount.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had players literally try and swipe at me, and first thing that happens, I'm up in the air. Okay, I shot landed, but one shot won't dismount you. But if you're quick with your reaction times, you could usually avoid getting caught by any kind of snares because there's a time limit to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you could argue that makes it more friendly to those who don't like PvP and gives them the opportunity to complete the quest that depends on those three. But at the same time, it feels like it's cheating.
I've spent a career killing people who didn't like PvP. Let me tell you something, bro. The best way to not PvP if you don't want to is to get good at PvP. See, the thing about PvE is they spend so much time trying to avoid PvP, they never learn how to properly do it, and they just get wrecked every time.
I don't think that's gonna work for them.
Like, if you just learn how to fight, like just learn the basics of your class, you would be fine in most confrontations because 9 out of 10 times you're fighting somebody that's not that good. Now, if you would come across an elite PvPer like me, you were probably done for. But 9 out of 10 times, you're fighting a basic guy, and if you're a PvEer, you probably have better gear than him anyway. You could probably win off that alone. I don't know how it is now though. It might be different. Who knows?
Some people like the comfort of predictability. Depends on the person, I guess.
Yeah, nah, man. My whole thing about MMOs is the chess match of PvP, bro. The chess match is what I love.
I love how that was broken for nearly a year before anybody fixed that.
What are you talking about? What's broken?
As in, there was a major bug in the game where, even though you could, I think it went for a while where the chess match was completely broken, but you couldn't do anything with it. It wouldn't actually work correctly. It then went through a time where you could complete it, but it wouldn't drop any loot on it. And then they finally fixed it after about a year and a half of problems.
Let's see. Yeah. I don't know, man. We could probably get off World of Warcraft. What you guys got? We've been going for 45 minutes now.
Nada.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, shout out to World of Warcraft. I feel like downloading a private server and playing some Wrath of the Lich King. Don't tell anyone.
Make your own.
Yeah, I've made mine in the past, and I've had very levels of success with them.
Yeah, bro. Just getting the thing doesn't. Wow, sucks. Shout out. What's up, Simba? In the chat. I've had no, yeah, oh yeah. When you download a private server, the engine or whatever to make one, yeah, it takes a lot of coding to actually get
It's
it to
true,
work properly.
but it pays off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think all the servers they hoard their code, so like they don't make their code open source. Gotta
Yeah.
play monthly to play. Oh, Simba, there's private servers, bro, that are free. I'm talking to
Yeah.
somebody
The
in the chat.
problem isn't usually the code. The code is pretty much, I think, for most servers, about where you can probably expect it. The problem is now the database you need behind it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because
It's a lot, bro.
yeah. I
There's some.
mean,
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, private servering got much harder after Lich King because they put in a lot of security measures with the new version of Battle.net. So a lot of the newer clients need to bypass that. So if you're trying to do Cataclysm and later, your level of success getting a working server is now far less than you would do for a Lich King server.
Yeah, I think they added some new protections for sure, but they have a service for what you gonna call it, or Legion. They got service for Mr. Pandaria.
I'm not sure about
Yes.
WoW's private server devs, but there are some games who have private servers where they open up donations for the month, and people can donate for the server upkeep, and they split the rest of the remainder, and they make bank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the one of the best wall services is Warmate, and I think they just work off like donations, bro. Like you donate to buy items or whatever,
Yeah,
and then that's it, bro.
if you got a good product, people will donate and pay for it.
Yeah, man. Oh man, well we could end it right here, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate talking to you. Thanks for coming out almost every week, talking about these games or whatever. Final Fantasy and all that. Well, I think this is it for us. This is Quan, D, Cynic, and I'll see y'all maybe next week if there's some news. If not, then the week after. He's getting off because he's old.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all, man. Later.
Later.
That was okay. That was a good stream.
Yeah.
Are you saying later to them? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, not you.